Welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some all-time great skills and flaws in this very short fight. And if you're a good puncher, if you're a good fighter, when your opponent makes obvious mistakes, you should be able to take advantage of them. So let's go ahead and develop a little bit of flow with the fight here. First thing I want to talk about is how as soon as these guys get on the line, as soon as they get into quote unquote range, they get on the line here, and now they're both in range of snapping or throwing a fast stepping shot, so they're going to be doing something when they get on the line, right? I just want to point out when Lima gets there, Ennis has a choice. He has to either make an attack, make a defensive move, or get off the line, right? And Lima has to do the same thing once he gets to this position, and he's going to make a feint kind of motion, and off that feint, Jaron Ennis moves off the line. Very obvious, right? Get on the line here, and now Luis Malima gets on the line. He's like, okay, when I get there, I'm just going to start slipping to the outside of the line here. And Jaron Ennis is like, okay, next time he does that shit, I'm just going to throw a jab at him. Okay, so they're getting on the line. He's trying to check. He's like, okay, this time I'm going to feint the jab to the body, which just pushes Ennis off of his line. But I just want to point out that when they get to that line, they have an opportunity to make two punches sound like one, right? They have to get to the line, boom, and then after they get to the line, immediately make an attack or a defensive move, which kind of gets the fight rolling. Okay, now again, jumping on the line, giving a really hard feint here, and then getting to the line here. Notice how he slips to the front foot here again, giving him that like crossing the line, and Ennis jumps into this rear hand right here. Okay, very important timing here. But I want to point out Ennis, when he starts coming, Ennis's feet have to move first before he can throw that shot. That's why it's a little bit off timing. But he's looking to control Lima with more punches than just the jab. Notice Lima was starting to find the jab to the body, right, off of the lead hand control. He's like, okay, if he throws another jab like that, I'll jab to the body. So Ennis here having another way to control the line in case he makes a move that winds up being good against the jab when they make that split second decision. They get to the line. He's like, okay, what am I going to do? If Ennis blasts into a right hand and he makes a defensive move defending a jab, there's a small likelihood, a decent likelihood, some likelihood that he'll score. And it's just an all-time great skill to be able to control the line as your opponent approaches it with both hands. Okay, it's very important. That is the all-time great skill there. Now, Luis Malima checking the line here, crossing the line, and now another all-time great skill. Very interesting thing here, all-time great flaw here. We're going to talk about it, but he controls here. Okay, now Luis Malima gets to the line, control. Now look at him trying to weave through the line. He's like, okay, we've done the control game. I'm going to see what's after the control. Okay, if I weave through the line, I come here after he touches the line. Is he ready for me? Right? So Ennis is like, not really ready, but he gets him control and then backs out. Doesn't press him. Then Ennis is like, okay, he's going to make an attack on me now. I don't want him to re-enter the line and get to the front foot because the ring is cut off. So he takes this opportunity, all-time great skill, to control him, gives him some easy stuff, and just feints him and gets out of the corner for free, right? Using good rhythm, good timing, and gets his opponent out of position. Now, this is the very important thing. All-time great flaw here. All-time great flaw. He jumps off the line here, and then he immediately jumps right back in. It's very difficult to see, but Luis Malima jumps off the line, and then he jumps right back in. And take a look at how Jaron Ennis pays attention to him bouncing with that pendulum step back and forth, okay? This is why it's very important that you don't always step with everything that you do, that you're able to walk onto the line, you're able to transfer your weight and move around freely. If you guys want to learn how to do that stuff, I have an entire mobility course in the Fouts Boxing Academy. It's $20 a month, or if you get a 1-year membership, it's $160, which winds up being like $13. Comes with all kinds of post-fight film studies, hundreds of them, along with like 60 people in the Discord. Also, an entire power punching course, teach you power punching, and as you guys send in videos, I'll teach you how to do all that stuff better. There's an entire community, people who are posting and drilling and getting better, and you can learn off of them who are learning the same exact thing as you are, so it makes it really easy. You know you're not doing it right when you're not doing it right. But pushing him off the line here, very important, and then steals a shot when he comes back onto the line. Okay, very important for the overall development of the fight here. Now, Luis Malima getting on the line here, and he's going to throw this rear hand over the top. Boom, and I want you guys to pay attention, okay, because as he gets to the line here, front foot, Luis Malima is on his back foot. He's taking that step on the front foot, and Jaron Ennis is trying to time it so that when he gets his weight to the front foot, he's going to be able to cross the line with this rear hand. Boom. But I want you guys to pay attention to the fact that, number one, you guys are not Jaron Ennis. right? So all of you guys in sparring, you think that you're going to get away with just throwing one random punch at a guy and you're going to hit him and you're just going to be the exception. You're not the rule. You're not Jaron Ennis either. And look, he threw a punch and he missed. You're going to throw punches that miss, but you have to throw these punches. You have to throw them. You can't get away with beating a high level guy without throwing some punches that you don't know for sure are going to land. Right? Right? Dana White doesn't go playing blackjack knowing he's going to win. He just knows he's going to play. He's going to check the line. Okay? So just want to point out all-time great skill, great timing. He does everything right, pushes him off the line. Excellent that he can do both, timing and getting into the front foot. All very, very important things for the overall scope of the fight. Now, Jaron Ennis doesn't want to sit on the line with this guy. He doesn't really want to let this guy get into position and exert himself and use his muscles, right? So he's moving around, penduluming, walking around. The other guy doesn't have a very good crossing the line of his own. Pushes him off the line here. Now when he jumps off the line, bounce. Jumps back onto the line, bounce. And Ennis is looking to take advantage of him re-entering the line right after that. Okay, it's very, very, very important. Now, he crossed the line here. He's going to do a pendulum walk here, moves his back foot. Once he moves his back foot, that tells Jaron Ennis, oh, okay, he's coming. He has to move his front foot next. So he's going to move his front foot next. Here he comes, and he does it with a stepping shot. It winds up being even slower. Jaron Ennis gives him a very, 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 very easy pull here, right? Gets under that shot and comes up with the counter right here. Right after he throws his jab, by the way, the jab, he finishes his pendulum here, and you see he tries to move, and Jaron Ennis times him very, very, very well. Think Teofimo Lopez versus Diego Magdaleno. I think he was timing him there. Teofimo Lopez tried this trick against Vasily Lomachenko as well. It was one of the reasons why Lomachenko had such a difficult time getting lead foot dominance and putting pressure on the very green Teofimo Lopez at the time. But excellent timing here from here. But there's one very, very important thing is that his opponent just jumped in the air, pendulumed here. They're getting all their weight coming. And in spite of the fact that Jaron Ennis does a decent job timing him here, pull counters the shot, lands the shot, he pull countered a probe, right? A shot that was used just so that he could control space and pendulum and create a positional advantage, right? He's just trying to move in the ring with the jab, not score. So he moved, he got his weight going, and then he came down with this shot. So Jaron Ennis exhibited some good defense on first contact, pulling that shot, then coming up with the counter. Excellent timing him when he's in the air. Very, very, very difficult. He did still sacrifice eating a good hard shot, the exact shot that his opponent was trying to set up, which can be very dangerous. He very, very likely did disrupt his opponent's structure a little bit when he cracked him, which mitigated some of the damage. But I just wanted to point that out. He's paying attention to the pendulum walk right there. It makes all the movement from Lima very, very obvious. Okay. Now, the post-punch defense thing is a Jaron Ennis specialty problem. Okay, it is one of those things that he consistently has a problem with. Bounces back on the line, and then again jab, pendulum, and then look at Jaron Ennis getting under, and then coming with a body shot right here. Again, timing Lima getting to the front foot, getting the lead foot dominance, and getting into range. Okay, not just timing him as he gets onto the line, right? As he was beating Lima as he was beating him on parity on the outside, but Lima's deciding to completely forego that, try to get past the lead foot dominance, make the pendulum step, get the lead foot dominance, and Jaron Ennis is still picking him off as he comes in. All-time great skill, being able to pay attention to that. Being able to time the pendulum step like that is the biggest reason why Errol Spence was such an easy fight for Terrence Crawford, because Errol Spence is a bladed fighter, right? He can't really cross the line. He's not really hiding his pendulum steps. So pushes him off the line here. Lima jumps off the line. He's getting picked off on the outside. He's losing all the sequences, but he has to find a way to get onto Ennis's line. So he's re-entering the line 1-1-2, right? Now Jaron Ennis is going to make an attack on his line. Again, he's going to give him another little feint. Boop, boop. Pushes him off the line here. Throws a rear hand at the body. Again, Lima tries to, and again, this is an all-time great mistake. Okay, Jaron Ennis in theory is out of position, but he's not out of position for very long, right? He just threw a shot, but we know he's fast, So how much time do we anticipate him being out of position? Enough time to, after he just threw that shot, to jump on the line with a 1 and then a 2? Now I want to pay attention here. Okay, again, Jaron Ennis, like we said, he landed that last shot off of his defense, didn't really move and then got cracked. He stayed in the position here after he threw the 2, didn't really put a lot of stress on himself, stayed there. Uisma Lima jumped off the line, then he jumped back on the line with a 1 and a 2. Okay, now Ennis didn't move his head or anything here, but Uisma Lima's counter here, right, entering the line or re-entering the line like this with this pendulum step, trying to keep up pace because, again, he's a bladed stance fighter. How else can he get on the line, right? Even his pendulum walk, right, has this big, giant jumping. It's not this hidden thing where he can disguise it. He's not controlling space when he moves to the front foot. Notice every time he moved to the front foot, he'd just throw a rear. He wouldn't even throw a rear hand probe. He wouldn't control. When Ennis moves to the front foot, he's throwing his rear hand so far. He hasn't even gotten to the point where he has the pendulum walk and he can still make attacks, right? But without having to get lead foot dominance. Again, the same exact problem that Lomachenko had. Lomachenko doesn't use his rear hand nearly enough. He also doesn't use his right hook at all. But Uisma Lima jumps off the line, right? He just literally jumps off the line when the rear hand comes. Okay, boom, jumps off the line. How long does it take him to make an attack onto Jaron Ennis's line? Well, a little bit too long. He is going to land right here, but he also walks right into this shot here. And that's ultimately the shot that winds up hurting him and putting him against the ropes. Now, a few other problems that he has. We take a look at his guard. He has his hands up, but it's in this like little high guard thing. This is a neutral guard. This is the guard that you use on the outside, not the guard that you use when you can see punches coming. This is not how you block a southpaw right hook. You don't stay in your guard, right? But he stays in his guard and he winds up eating a big shot right around the guard here. And then another shot right here, and then another shot right here. Beautiful, beautiful work. Another little all-time great skill. 2, 3, boom, boom, and just sits him down. Beautiful, beautiful work. But ultimately, the biggest difference, right? He jumps him off the line. Boom, boom, and a lot of people think that this is a very, very, very good skill. Oh, I'm going to pendulum step off the line. The Russian boxing, I'm going to be so fast. Ha, ha, ha. And this is literally what winds up getting him knocked out. He even lands his shot getting back on the line. It's just not good. That's just not how pulling off the line works. That's why you have to stay planted and you have to perform a pull counter by getting down and getting coiled like I teach in my course. I'm the only coach in boxing that teaches combat this way, that has an entire combat system. None of the things that I teach go against themselves. I'm going to teach you how to use all the tools. I'm going to teach you how to use the double in bag. I'm going to teach you how to use the heavy bag. I'm going to teach you how to shadow box. It's all going to make sense. You're learning all the same stuff as everybody else. And it's going to actually teach you how to fight. Okay, it's going to actually teach you the rules. The crazy thing is though, it doesn't make sense until it starts making sense. You know, you still got to go out there and get some experience when you don't know what to do with all the system. And just kind of, I don't want to say get lucky, you know, but we fight how we train. If you train this way, you're going to do it in the fight and you're going to surprise yourself. I guarantee it. But in my system, the way that I teach pull counters, the way that I teach coiling, I'm the only coach in history that understands how punching power works, how to actually generate punching power, and to make sure that you're able to generate the most amount of power, the most amount of times, and have the most opportunity to have the best economy of motion in the ring. Okay, it's a complete entire combat system to teach you exactly what you should be training, teach you exactly what combat's supposed to look like, so you don't wind up making very, very, very basic mistakes like trying to counter a guy who threw a rear hand by jumping off the line and then jumping back on the line with a 1-2, making 3 moves to counter his 1 move. And then just getting countered because he got to rest on one of the moves while you were too far away to do anything. But I want to point out another little facet here. Again, pushes him off the line. He knows exactly where he is here, right? When he jumps on the line with the 1, right? Boom, boom, and he's already transitioning into the rear hand. He already knows. Um, but yeah, again, that bladed stance thing, right? He just knows that he's not going to be in any danger from the lead hand. He knows when he jumps on the line exactly where he's going to be. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And does this make you guys want to pick him to beat Virgil Ortiz?